Okay, when you get your clay, you're going to form it into a ball using your hands. You can even roll it on your fabric if you need help getting it more into a circular ball. When you are done doing that part, you should just check that you have a nice sphere. Remember, that's a 3D circle. And this has already got like a little pinch in there, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to take my thumb and push it almost all the way to the bottom, but don't go through the bottom. And then I'm going to start turning and squeezing. We are making what is called a pinch pot, and it's called that because we are pinching the clay. So your thumbs are going to go on the inside, your fingers go on the outside, and you can put it on the fabric and start turning and pinching till you get it to the size that you're looking for. We don't want it super thin or super thick, so we're trying to make a uniform thickness. Like, it's a little thick right here, so I'm kind of squeezing that as I go as well with my 2 fingers. All my fingers actually, but my thumbs are inside and my fingers are on the outside. And if this starts doing this, I kind of like to gently tap it. It kind of evens that back out. And I'm going to make that into my pinch pot here. Okay, if you look at this pinch pot, it is way too thin, okay? And you can see it's even cracking and peeling apart. So we don't want to squeeze so much that it gets that thin. And then if you look at this pinch pot, it is way too thick still. We would need to keep working that clay. So if you look at this one, this is a good thickness, okay? So we're going to be making a pinch pot animal. So you can do a dog or a cat. I'm going to give you some extra clay to work with for the other parts here. We're going to start with a sphere for the eyes. So again, we're making a sphere that's a 3D ball, and you're going to go ahead and make 2 of those about the same size if you can. So I'm making 2 spheres, and then I'm going to flatten it just a little bit on my fabric here to give it a flat side on the top and the bottom. So we're going to flip our pinch pot over because that's actually going to be the top. We're going to build the face on the front here, and I'm going to make it a little pointier on top to make it stick up just a little bit more. And then what we're going to do is use either a dull pencil from the clay tools or some of the clay tools I have, and we are going to scratch up the surface. So you need to do this whenever you attach clay to clay so that it sticks. I'm going to put my hand underneath where I want my eyes and also scratch up where I want that. So if I want one eye there and one eye here, okay? Then what we're going to do, we have a little bit of water. You're going to take that water and put it on those spots. So we're putting a little bit of water in those grooves. Then you're going to take the eye and do a squish turn like that on both sides. That will help it stick together, and then we have the eyes ready. If you want to add more details to the eyes, like I might add another small little sphere. So these are even tinier little balls. And then again, flatten them a little bit. Scratch up the surface. Again, when you do this, you want to make sure you're holding that hand behind, otherwise it kind of wants to flatten. Same thing here, scratch up the surface, a little bit of water, stick that on. If you don't want the double spheres, that's fine, it's totally up to you. It just looks kind of fun making those extra big eyes. And I'm gonna make mine a cat. So the next thing is we're gonna make a flat piece of clay. So I kind of rolled a little ball, and then I'm making a flat piece here. And then I'm going to use one of the clay tools to draw a little triangle for the nose. So there's my triangle. Once again, you want to scratch up the surface. And then where I want to put it, scratch up the surface. Put the water on. And then I can place that on. Again, do a little jiggle to make sure it's sticking on there nice. We can always clean things up when we're done. This is just putting everything together. I'm going to use my pencil to put a little bit of a hole in the eye like so, just so it looks a little more detailed. Then I can go ahead on and add the mouth. So for the mouth, I'm going to roll a coil. So a coil kind of looks like the snakes that we might make with Play-Doh. And it's best to roll your coils with the palm of your hand, not your fingers. So that is way too big for that, but I can just make it smaller. So I'm just going to cut off the extra that I don't want. And I'm going to score that. So when we scratch up the surface in clay, it's called scoring. So I'm scoring the surface. Remember, you need to do both pieces of clay and then put water on it. The water acts like glue to hold everything in place. And you only need a little bit of water on there. And then again, you're gonna jiggle so that it sticks, like so. So the cat and the dog parts are really the same, other than the ears will be different. So you can make the dog and the cat face very similar. I'm gonna draw some whiskers with my pencil, because like I said, I'm making a cat. If you get a little too much clay, just wipe it off. Okay, and then I just need to add some triangle ears, kind of just like I made the nose. If you're doing a dog, it will be a half circle for the ears. So I have a sphere, and then I'm going to flatten that out with my hand so that I can do some triangle ears. Again, we don't want these too thick or too skinny, so you can see about like that. Then I'm going to take one of my clay tools and decide what size I want. So if this is one ear, then I can show you, we can kind of trace that one. So that would be one ear that I'm going to attach like that. So I'm going to put this clay back together. We don't want to waste clay. We always want to keep those all together. I'm going to smush for my second ear. Always pick it up and flip it over. And then I can just trace this triangle so that they're close to the same size. I just kind of hold it in place, trace those three sides, and now I have two ears that are the same. Always put your extra clay in a ball, and we'll keep that in the bag so that it doesn't dry out. We're going to score the bottom of the triangles, and then we're going to score and slip where we want those. So if I want those right here and over here, and again, a little bit of water in there, I just use my fingertips and drip, and then jiggle to hold it in place, jiggle to hold it in place. Again, you might want your hand underneath so that we don't have it coming up or pushing your pinch pot in. And there's my face. I'm going to add a few more details. So you can go ahead and use some of the clay tools when you're ready to smooth out, or you can use your finger to smooth out things. If it's gotten a little lumpy, you can go ahead and do that. You can add any details that you want. Like I drew these triangles upside down inside the ears for some extra details. If you want to work on making two lips, you could draw between. And then what we're going to do last is you can add a tail if you want. That will be another coil. So again, making a coil, you just kind of squish it into a hot dog shape first and then roll it on your fabric. Again, it's probably going to be too much, but you can always cut off what you don't need. I'm rolling with the palm of my hand, not my fingers. So I'm going to put my tail back here on the back, and then I want it to kind of curl up a little bit. So I'm going to draw that line so that I know where to score, because I want to make sure I score the clay. Remember where it attaches to other clay. Same thing at the bottom of this, and then putting a little bit of that water on there. And then you're going to put that on and jiggle it so it stays in place. And then I want mine to stick up a little bit like that. So I'm going to leave it dry like that. So you want to add the tail last because it can be a little falling over if we're not careful. But again, you can use the tools if you need to smooth anything out or if you want to add details. If there's time, you're welcome to draw fur around your entire pinch pot there, but you can leave that nice and flat. We are going to get a strip of paper. Make sure your name and room number is on that, and then when I tell you where to put those, you will put that on top of your name so I know that that is your pinch pot animal.